Hello dear viewers, welcome to Natural Television News from Ankara in Turkey. I'll bring to you our news headlines in a bit. A drilling vessel named Yavuz is Turkey's second hydrocarbon research ship, which was sent for oil exploration ahead of the official ceremony in Turkey's northwestern Kocaeli province. Turkey sent a second drilling vessel, Yavuz, to East Mediterranean Sea on Thursday that will begin hydrocarbon exploration off the coast of the Cyprus island in early July. Like many of her compatriots, 11-year-old Rahaf is a victim of Syria's brutal civil war, forced to drop out of school to provide for her family and leave her dream of becoming a teacher behind. As her sick father, she provides for her 5 younger siblings and parents by selling biscuits on the streets of Al-Bab city in the country's north. She says, "I leave the house at 10 a.m. and return in the evening around 10 p.m. I sell 2 boxes of biscuits a day," and she also continued to say, "I go to shops, to cars, some people buy them and some don't." She's called Said Rafat, and her family moved to Al-Bab after they were forced to leave Deir el-Zor province when their home was destroyed. While in conflict, displacement and violence have become part of their daily life in Syria. Many children have been forced to assure the role of family provider. "When I sell biscuits," she says, "on the streets, I see other children leaving their homes for school." The ultra-Orthodox demonstrators protested near the central bus station in Jerusalem against the conscription of seminary students to the military. Demonstration was over the arrest of a number of women who attempted to stop girls attending to enlist at the Jerusalem draft office. A UK panel on Wednesday discussed the humanitarian role of Turkey in the refugee crisis and analyzed the details of the European Union's immigration policy, including those of the 2016 EU-Turkey deal. The conference, organized by the TRT World Research Centre, was held in the House of Parliament. It was hosted by Lord Mark McLean with guest speakers including Tarif Küçükcan, a professor in Marmara University in Istanbul, Shoshani Fine, an academic, and Seri Sciencepo, and Eko Teraman, an associate professor at the London School of Economics and Political Science. Turkish Airlines celebrated its 25th anniversary of Istanbul-New York direct flights with a ceremony in New York on Wednesday. Speaking at the ceremony, Alper Aktas, Turkey's Consul General to New York, said Turkey's national flag carrier achieved great success thanks to devotion. Aktas announced the Istanbul-New York Jersey flights will start in a month. Turkey's UN Ambassador Ferdum Sinilolu, Turkish Airlines New York head Cenk Okay, and Brooklyn Mayor Eric Adams also attended the ceremony. Turkish Airlines, founded in 1933, flies to a total of 313 destinations in 124 countries with its passenger and cargo planes. The drastic cuts of humanitarian assistance for refugees who fled Myanmar to Thailand have stoked widespread hopelessness and depression in camps along the border. Depending on a mental health crisis that has been suicidal rates soar, a coalition of civil society groups says. Major donors, including the European Union, Norway, and Sweden, have withdrawn funding for the camps in recent years, leading to cuts in food rations for about 100,000 refugees as aid workers struggle with less than half the money they had in 2012. 15 local groups have urged foreign donors to reinstate funds in a report published on Thursday to mark World Refugee Day. The report 3 is No One Who Does Not Miss Home is based on interviews with 338 displaced people from various ethnic minorities groups living in camps in Myanmar and Thailand. Oil prices climbed around 3% on Thursday amid escalating tensions in the Middle East after a U.S. military drone was shot down by Iranian forces. The drone was brought down in international airspace over the Strait of Hormuz by an Iranian surface-to-air missile, a U.S. official said on Thursday. Speaking on conditions of anonymity, Iran's Allied Revolutionary Guard Force said the American aircraft was shot down after flying into Iranian airspace in the southern province of Hormozgan. The different accounts couldn't be immediately reconciled. Tensions have been rising in the Middle East after the last week's attacks on 2 tankers near the Strait of Hormuz, a choke point for oil supplies. In a new report that blames Saudi Arabia for Jamal Khashoggi's killing, a United Nations human rights expert has provided a minute-by-minute account of the journalist's execution and disembowelment inside the kingdom's consulate in Istanbul, Turkey's largest city. Those details, based on Turkish intelligence audio recordings, make for grim reading. They recounted how the Washington Post columnists suspected killers discussed cutting up and transporting a body as they waited for what they called the arrival of the sacrificial animal. The recordings and other evidence collected during a 6-month investigation showed Khashoggi's death on October 2nd last year was planned, said Agnes Karamalt, a UN Special Rapporteur for extrajudicial, summary and arbitrary executions. Hundreds of thousands of people have been forced from their homes in northeastern areas of the Democratic Republic of Congo in the past 2 weeks, escaping a wave of resurgent inter-ethnic violence that killed more than 160 people, including babies and young children hacked to death. The United Nations Refugee Agency on Thursday expressed deep alarm over the flare up in violence in the DRC's Ituri province, which it said had seen multiple attacks involving the Hema and Lendu groups since early June. Attacks between the two communities had also displaced some 350,000 in late 2017 and early 2018, killing about 300 people before a tenuous calm took hold. But last week, 4 Lendu traders were killed in attacks the Lendu blamed on the Hema, which locals say sparkled off the latest violence. A week ago, scores of people were killed in central Mali during an ongoing conflict between farmers and herders. Militias connected to the Fulani and Dogoni ethnic groups have attacked each other's communities in recent months. It is the latest in a series of massacres that are part of an escalating conflict between the Dogoni and Fulani communities. Despite overall confidence in safety and effectiveness of vaccines, high-income countries show lowest levels of trust. People in Western Europe have the lowest levels of confidence in vaccines worldwide, according to the world's biggest survey on global attitude in public health and science. More than a fifth, 22% of people surveyed in Western Europe disagreed that vaccines are safe, while in Eastern Europe, 17% disagreed that they were effective. The Wellcome Global Monitor, published on Wednesday, showed France had the lowest levels of trust of any country included in the report, with 1/3 of French people disagreeing that vaccines are safe. It is also the only country where a majority of people, 55%, believed science and technology will reduce the total number of jobs available. The poll of more than 140,000 people across 144 countries comes amid several outbreaks of vaccine-preventable diseases in countries where sophisticated immunization programs are already in place, including the United States, the Philippines, and Brazil. Russia's president has accused the US of attacking telecoms giant Huawei to weaken China and called the possibility of a US war with Iranian a catastrophe. Vladimir Putin made the comments during his annual question and answer session with the public, but much of the questioning focused on domestic issues. Sudan's Transitional Military Council has sacked the country's prosecutor general days after charges of corruption were brought against overthrown President Omar al-Bashir as new protests got underway. The official Sunna news agency reported on Thursday that Abdullah Ahmed will replace Al-Waledi Saeed Ahmed as prosecutor general, but did not give any reason for the sacking. Abdullah had recently been appointed prosecutor for Khartoum, a role in which he was overseeing an investigation into the June 3rd bloody raid on a protest camp in the capital that killed scores of pro-democracy demonstrators. Al-Bashir on Sunday appeared in front of another prosecutor to face charges of corruption and illegal possessions of foreign currency. People fighting in queues for water, many unable to take showers, and hotels warning people about water usage. This is the situation in India's sixth largest city after its 4 reservoirs ran dry this week. And while there is a little water still available, it is not clear how long it will last. As a result, most of China's more than 4 million strong population is now relying solely on government tanks to provide their water. Others are paying large sums of money for private companies to supply water to their homes. Even then, it can take up to 4 days to the tank to arrive. In some cases, people have attempted to draw water from wells, but the quality of the groundwater is poor. Protesters have attempted to storm Georgia's parliament as thousands held a mass rally against the appearance of a Russian lawmaker. Thousands gathered to protest about Russian MP Sergei Gavrilov's visit to parliament in the capital Tbilisi. Mr. Gavrilov was attending an assembly of MPs from Orthodox Christian countries. Tensions flared when he addressed delegates from the seat of Georgia's parliamentary speaker, calling for parliamentary chairman Irakli Kobakizadeh and other officials to resign. About 10,000 protesters breached the police cordon. Police reportedly managed to prevent them from entering the building. Demanding the Russian delegation to leave the chamber, thousands of Georgians poured into the streets on Thursday, some carrying AU flags and placards that read "Russia is an occupier." In 2008, a conflict broke out between Georgia and Russia over the breakaway regions of Abkhazia and South Ossetia. Dozens of people in Austria's Vienna province protested against the Egyptian government's treatment to former President Mohamed Morsi, who died this week during a court appearance to face espionage charges. The 53rd meeting of the General Assembly of the Parliamentary Assembly of the Organization of the Black Sea Economic Cooperation kicks off in Baku, Azerbaijan. The meeting's agenda includes topics related to the economy, trade, technology, ecology, culture, education, and legal and political issues. Thank you so much for being with us. Natural Television News from Ankara in Turkey. I am Sauda Muganga. Thanks for watching.